This is a story of a very special boy who found himself at the end of the world. But our story doesn't begin here. We have to go back.
Before the Great Crumble, which is the name of the apocalyptic event in this world, it is shown that a doctor named Adi was treating his patients against a deadly virus called H5G9, a disease that has swept across the globe, causing a pandemic. When his pregnant wife Ronnie is then going into labor, he rushes her to the hospital and finds out that women are giving birth to human-animal hybrids. Simultaneous with the virus, these hybrid births start happening all across the world. In the present, when modern civilization has collapsed, a hybrid boy named Gus and his caretaker Papa are living in the woods by themselves, shielded off from the rest of humanity. However, when one day a man finds their hideout, Papa realizes that the man and his friends will return to kidnap Gus. To prevent that, he chases the man and most likely kills him, but returns injured. Knowing that his death is imminent, he tells Gus that his mother's name is Birdie, and Papa soon dies from his wounds. With Papa gone, Gus survives in the woods for some time, until he's attacked by some poachers who want him for his antlers. Luckily for Gus, the poachers are killed by a stranger named Jepperd. He tells Gus that he isn't safe in the open world and should stay hidden in his cabin. However, after finding a photo of his mother with the word Colorado on it, a curious Gus begs Jepperd to take him there. In the past, it is shown how Amy experienced the fall of civilization. While at her work, the world plunged into chaos and she locked herself up in her office. After some time, she ventured outside and set up shop in a zoo. However, her life soon changed when a hybrid was left at her doorstep and she was the baby's only hope for survival. Back in the present, Adi and Ronnie have survived the pandemic, but Ronnie has gotten the virus. Needing to resupply the medicine needed to suppress the virus, Adi visits Dr. Bell. Bell gives him another batch of the medicine, but also tells him that she is dying and that he needs to take over her research in finding a cure for the virus. Meanwhile, Gus and Jepperd are traveling together when their food runs out. They locate a visitor center in the mountains and find a family living there, including a human boy named Rusty. Jepperd tells the parents of the boy that he wants to leave Gus with them. But before that can happen, they are attacked by members of a group called the Last Man, who want to kidnap Gus. Together with Gus, Jepperd manages to take out all of the men. But after the fight, Rusty's parents urge them to leave, even though they realize that Jepperd is a former Last Man. Being on the road again, Jepperd promises to take Gus until the next town. At their HQ, a group of teens calling themselves the Animal Army are alerted to a hybrid in distress. In Rockbridge, Adi is shown to have taken up Dr. Bell's research. Continuing to document the medicine's progress on his wife, they discuss the horrific fact that Dr. Bell was experimenting on hybrid children provided to her by the Last Men. That night, they attend the survivors' party given by their neighbor Doug. However, when Doug's hands start shaking, a sign of the virus, the community burns down his house with Doug in it. Having arrived in the next town, Jepperd has disguised Gus as a fake hybrid so as to not stand out. When Gus then starts to panic in the human crowd, he is calmed by a girl from the Animal Army. Jepperd then shows up and gives Gus his train ticket to leave for Colorado. But when Gus tells him that some of the crates being transported smell like his medicine, the big man sneaks on the train cart to steal some of it. Almost successful, the two are caught by a guard, who eventually manages to call in help. Outnumbered and outgunned, Jepperd and Gus are captured by the Last Man. However, while being transported, the two are saved and freed by the Animal Army, while the leader of the Last Man, General Abbott, is informed that she has been found. After having found the hybrid baby years ago, Amy has bonded with her and she now is a young girl by the name of Wendy. During all that time, Amy has transformed the zoo into the preserve, a safe place for hybrids. But therefore also the place the Last Men are looking for, with Amy being the woman hunted by General Abbott. In Rockbridge, Adi discusses with Ronnie that the medicine isn't working. Reading Dr. Bell's notes, he discovers that the medicine, aka the secret sauce, is made of unique parts of living hybrids. When their neighbor Nancy then discovers that Ronnie has the sick, Adi is gladdened when his horse kicks her to death. Meanwhile, the animal army and its leader Bear take Gus and Jepperd back to their camp after finding out that Gus can talk and is thus a very special hybrid. However, since Jepperd is a former last man, the teens want to kill him, even though Gus rejects the idea. At Jepperd's planned execution, Bear decides to spare the big man since he is the guardian of Gus. But a purist soldier named Tiger doesn't want to make any exception and simply kills Jepperd, causing a civil war within the animal army. In the chaos that ensues, Gus frees Jepperd and the two of them escape. Knowing that Dr. Bell has lied about her terminal illness, General Abbott kicks down her door and confronts her for abandoning the research. She's forced to tell him that her research is with Adi in Rockbridge. With no more use for her, Abbott has the healthy doctor killed. Meanwhile, Gus and Jepperd continue their journey for Colorado and are joined by Bear. She has information on Birdie's whereabouts and gives it to Gus. Forced to go through the Valley of Sorrows, a valley full of the dangerous purple flowers, Gus falls in the field when crossing the bridge. There, he has a vision of Baba, who tells him to keep going. When he then wakes up, he realizes that Jepperd and Bear have saved him from the flowers, and together they continue their journey. At the preserve, Amy tries to save hybrid children by broadcasting about the sanctuary. However, when Bobby finds a pink ribbon on their gate, they realize that they have been marked by the last man. Having found out what has happened to Nancy, the neighbors ask Adi and Ronnie what's in the freezer, which is obviously Nancy's body. But when Adi tells them that Nancy was sick, they believe him until Ronnie starts coughing. Now knowing that Ronnie is infected, the neighbors tie them up in their house and set the place on fire. However, needing Adi and the research, General Abbott and his men show up and extinguish the fire. Begging for their lives, Adi and Ronnie convince the general that the research in the book is incomplete and lie about having the knowledge to synthesize a cure. At the preserve, Amy, Wendy and Bobby realize that an attack is soon about to happen. Amy instructs Wendy to leave the preserve via the tunnels and lead the hybrid kids to safety, while she will booby-trap the place and join them shortly. Meanwhile, Gus, Jepperd and Bear find their train and manage to hop on. But before they reach Colorado, they are spotted by a guard and Jepperd fights him, only to realize that it is Jimmy, a football friend from bygone days. Reminiscing about the past and talking about their destination, Jimmy tells Jepperd and Gus that he knows the location they are looking for, which is a neighborhood outside of Essex County, which happens to be the next stop. However, before they can disembark, last man goons show up and they are forced to hide. Just when they are about to jump off the train, Jepperd finds Dog, Gus's teddy bear, and tries to deceive the last man so he can retrieve the toy. But the plan fails and Jepperd runs for his life. Wanting to buy time for his friends, Jimmy fights off the last man, allowing the trio to jump off the train and escape. Soon after, Gus finds Essex County and he and his friends enter the town to find his mother. In a flashback of the past, it is revealed that in Alaska, a group of scientists had found a miracle microbe. Sometime later, Baba is seen going to his work as a cleaner in Fort Smith, a research facility. After work, he visits the local bar and meets one of the scientists working on the microbe project, Birdie. They hit it off and she tells him that the microbe can lead to the discovery of vaccines, but if the project fails, it could mean the end of civilization. At her home, Birdie gets a phone call that the military is confiscating her research. Together with Baba, she sneaks in the facility and tells him that they need to steal her project, which happens to be Gus. After successfully retrieving Gus, Birdie tells Baba that he needs to take Gus with him and that she will join them after getting her research in the lab. In the present, Gus and company find Birdie's house, only to discover that Judy lives there, Birdie's colleague. Judy tells them that Birdie went looking for Gus all those years ago. However, she does have the key to the attic, where Gus, Jepperd and Bear find Birdie's research, including a file named GUS1, Genetic Unit Series. revealing that Gus was a science experiment and created in a lab. Horrified by the discovery, he runs away from his friends and into the wild. Back in the past, it is shown that Birdie never made it back to Papa and Gus, and Papa had protected Gus by taking him to the Yellowstone National Park, since with the outbreak of the H5G9 virus, the world believed that the hybrids were the cause of the deadly virus. During a flashback of Jepperd, he is seen taking his pregnant wife to the hospital. However, when she gives birth to a hybrid, the big man is scared away and runs into Audie, who reassures him. In the present, the preserve is under siege by General Abbott. He gives Amy the option to surrender, but she refuses and sets off her booby traps. Meanwhile, Wendy and the other hybrids try to escape, but are captured by the last men. Outside Essex County, Jepperd finds Gus, while Bear is left at Judy's. He tells Gus about his hybrid son and pregnant wife, and that when he went back to them, they were gone. Gus then reveals that he had radioed the preserve his location. Just then, Jepperd is shot and taken out, allowing the last man to pick up Gus without resistance. They take him to Abbott and throw him in a cell with the other hybrid children. Now in the possession of numerous hybrid children, the general forces Audie to work on a cure. Having heard Gus's radio call, Amy tracks it down and finds a wounded Jepperd. Together, they are determined to save their kids. Outside Essex County, Judy tells Bear that according to Birdie, the virus and the hybrids are two sides of the same coin. In turn, Bear tells her that her sister was also a hybrid, but got taken. Carrying a photo of her sister, it is revealed that Bear's hybrid sibling is in fact Wendy. Using a phone she found in the attic, Bear tries to make contact with the person on the other side. To her surprise, someone in Alaska picks up, and it is none other than Birdie.
If we can see past the fear, we find out what really matters. And we learn that sometimes the things that set us apart can also bring us together.